Welcome to the after session with licensed therapist Aurelia Anderson Thompson. I'm Charity Bailey, host of Girl We Need to Talk. And we just finished watching episode 3 where we talked to Sasha Simmons. And wow, she has an incredible story that so many of us can identify with. Sasha's one of my really good friends, and she found out at the age of 25 years old that she had fibroids. And she talked to us about all of the physical, mental, and emotional pieces of that part of her journey. So Aurelia, let's talk about it. 25, first of all, we're right there in the middle of trying to figure out who we are as women, who we are away from our families, away from our communities, and, trying to step into this big world. Mm-hmm. And then she experiences this drastic change to her body. She has little to no control and knows very little about it. So let's talk about how that can impact self-esteem and how she views herself.
Mm-hmm. For Sasha, I hear just the mention of control, little to no control of what's happening inside of her. That's almost like our story as women in our bodies, starting with our menstrual cycle. We have no control over what is orchestrated, what happens. And the thing about fibroids, I am not a medical doctor. I do not claim to be, just with my own experience. It just happens. They are trying so hard to pinpoint, and their science is working, right? Science is working, and they have some understanding, but there's no definitive, don't do this so you won't get fibroids, right?
Yeah. It's just the luck of the draw here and there, maybe, and you don't know when they develop or any of it.
And so for someone like Sasha, someone, young, even older persons who discover it later in life, you have to pause. You have to pause. You have to pause, because it can be so overwhelming that you lose your equilibrium. Mm-hmm. You start to question everything about what you knew about yourself. You start to question everything you knew about your faith, your family, the generations before you. You start to question everything. And so I just say pause. Just settle in, sit in the information that you've been told. And then for someone like her, I would really take her medical team and don't stop until she's clear with whatever questions. Go ahead.
And that's what she did. And okay. We're talking about Sasha, but what about folks at home who don't know where to start? Sasha's just very proactive in the way that she handles life in general and her body. But where do you start when you feel so helpless and hopeless in that space? After you pause, you then go gather information. Is that what you're saying?
You gather information, but when in that pausing, we're not just sitting and just shooting the breeze and watching the flies fly by, but you're gathering yourself, and then you're remembering, I've been here before. I've been here before when I didn't know what to do. I've been here before when I discovered information about myself that I wasn't sure of, that I wasn't expecting. What have I done in the past? What have I done in the past when I didn't know what to do? Who did I talk to? Where did I go? Where did I find good information? Meaning the people in our lives, right? Mm-hmm. And for anything medical, did I go back to the physician? Anything emotional? Did I talk to a faith leader? Where did you seek help before? And then, yes, then you go and seek, and then you go and find, because we are going to always come up against an unanswerable question.
Yeah. Well, and even if it's not fibroids, it's going to be something, especially when it comes to our reproductive systems, especially as Black women. There's all these different layers, and we're just trying to peel them back and figure it all out. And honestly, it's tormenting.
And we don't need to. And we stop. We don't need to figure it all out. We don't. We need to figure out what we need to figure out at the moment. What is on our plate right now? What is right now? Right now is my body's not feeling right. That's all we need to know. Okay. If my body's not feeling right, let me go to the doctor. My body's not feeling right. Where is it not feeling right? And then proceed. That's why the pause is so important. Step by step. Step by step.
One of the steps that Sasha took, I mean, it completely changed the way her body was responding. She did a 180 degree to her diet. She just flipped it up on its head. And while you are not a doctor, a healthier lifestyle, a healthier diet, all of those things help women cope with the changes. In your line of work, and I mean, with your own body, how has that been helpful?
I recommend to all of my clients that they get a physical examination when we begin our therapeutic relationship. Okay. Because the two are, now whether they do it, that is their choice. But I always recommend that they get a physical examination because the mind and the body are so connected. We know this with biology. We know this. But what we put in our bodies, it affects our mind. Literally. And so what I say is there could be definitely chemical imbalance that is genetic, but it could also be because of your diet. And so that's why I partner with their physicians, their psychiatrists, if we're going the route of medication management, but we all their nutritionists. I have a diabetic 10-year-old. We all, as a client, we partner together. I'm working with their mental health. I have the physical health. We have the spiritual health. Like we have all the people on the team. And so, yes, it's very, very, very important that you understand how nutrition affects every area of your life.
Well, and you're right. It is all connected. And until we actually, we hear it, but until we actually live it, yeah, that's a whole different thing.
It's a whole different. Start with water. Just start with water. Just drink more water.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and Sasha does. She says that her body completely changed after she started this new lifestyle, and it's water. It's, either no meat or very little meat, vegetables, mostly vegan, but it helped her to push the fibroid out, and it's smaller now, if you will. So how do we adapt to these changes as we're going through them?
One thing, and I know I talk a lot about equilibrium, and I talk about getting stable and balanced, but we have to find our equilibrium. And I'm all about doing what works. There are points in our lives where we're at our baseline. That's when we are at our status quo emotionally. What works for you? What brings you balance? What brings you joy? Do that. When you're going through transition, when you're going through changes, remember, I go back to this pause. Pause and ask yourself, when things were balanced in my life, when everything was status quo, what was I doing? What was working for me then? You do that. The things that are healthy. Oh, I was writing in my journal, my gratitude journal every morning. I was running, I was biking, I was walking, I was singing, I was, whatever the thing is, I was blogging, whatever that thing is, you do that to get you stable enough to be able to handle the changes and to be able to adjust. It's all about what has worked.
Well, and after we pause, we can then maybe strategize to get this W and stop taking L's, right?
But see, it's all about what we think, and it's all about how we process what a L is and how we process what a W is, because it's going to look different.
Oh, you just snatched me. Okay.
I'm
Go
just
ahead.
well,
Yeah, no,
I'm just
it's true.
saying. I
Yeah.
mean, and so it's about what we consider changing. So our bodies are changing. Our mind has to change. How we think about things have to change. It's called maturity. Yeah, I may not be your candy coated therapist, at sometimes, but we have to accept the fact that our bodies are changing. It may not be fibroids, but they will change. And so with that, we've got to change what we think about it and how we think about it. And so, yes, we will strategize. We will get back up and we'll do it. We will, because we're resilient. But we have to have some downtime just to be able to breathe and process this new way of living. And Sasha, she did it. She did it, but she may not have paused like I was saying, pause, like an intentional let me pause. But she did. She had a pause because she had a reckoning within herself of this is not going to run me. This is not going to change me. So let me just take a moment. And then she strategized.
Okay. Well, and on that note, we will see you next Wednesday with an all new episode of Girl We Need to Talk. And of course, the after session. See you later.
Bye.